Let's dive right into this explainer because this is a big one. Look, if you've ever stood there staring at a faded clothing label, wondering what on earth mixed fibers actually means, or if those eco-friendly tags are just, corporate greenwashing, well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're unpacking a massive game-changing shift happening in the European economy right now. It's a literal transparency revolution that's going to take the totally hidden journey of our garments and put it right in the palm of our hands. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We're going to cover the textile transparency problem, Europe's green legislative push, what exactly the digital product passport is, what's inside it, and finally, the real-world benefits for both consumers and businesses. Let's get to it. Starting with Section 1, the textile transparency problem. Okay, I was absolutely floored when I saw these numbers. According to the 2023 Fashion Transparency Index, a tiny, tiny fraction, just 8% of major fashion brands actually disclose information about their raw material suppliers. 8%! That means a whopping 92% do not. That leaves massive, gaping holes in supply chain transparency. We're talking about an industry where working conditions are largely undocumented, leaving millions of workers super vulnerable to exploitative practices. It basically just fuels this fast turnover throwaway economy. The industry is, quite frankly, severely struggling to update its practices to meet basic modern sustainability needs. But here's the catch. While the industry is dragging its feet, consumer awareness is going through the roof. Right now, 38% of consumers are actively jumping ship, switching brands to find companies with credible, real environmental and social commitments. Shoppers are just absolutely desperate for verified transparency, right? We're totally past being satisfied with vague green marketing, right? We want actual proof. And let me tell you, when almost 40% of the market starts voting with their wallets and walking away, policymakers and businesses suddenly have absolutely no choice but to pay attention. Which brings us to Section 2. Europe's green legislative push. Because the free market clearly wasn't fixing this on its own, the European Union is officially stepping in. They are backing a sweeping, massive wave of new regulatory frameworks designed to basically force traceability and circularity right into the textile world. The EU has realized that to tackle climate concerns and to build an economy that actually survives the future, strict enforceable laws aren't just nice to have, they're absolutely essential. So they're taking these direct, unprecedented steps to mandate that products sold in Europe actually become sustainable, durable, and totally accountable. Now, this is the part I find truly fascinating. You literally cannot have this green transition without a digital transition to track it. This idea is perfectly captured by a phrase policymakers are using called the twin transition. Basically, Europe is heavily investing in digital tech. Think AI, cloud computing, massive data sharing, at the exact same time they are pushing for a circular economy. Why? Because the green movement relies 100% on digital tools to track and optimize physical resources. They're two sides of the same coin. You absolutely need the digital data to prove the green sustainability. No data, no proof. And guys, this is not some sci-fi distant future concept. It is happening incredibly fast. It kicked off back in December 2019 with the European Green Deal, which had this huge goal to make Europe the first climate-neutral continent by 2050. That sparked the Circular Economy Action Plan, aiming to double circular material use over the next decade. Then, zeroing in on the most highly impactful industries, the EU adopted the Strategy for Sustainable and Circular Textiles in 2022. And all of this dominoes into the Eco-Design for Sustainable Products regulation, which drops a huge legal hammer. By 2027, digital product passports will be entirely mandatory for textiles sold in the EU. 2027, that is literally right around the corner. So let's talk about the tech itself in Section 3, the digital product passport. So what exactly is a digital product passport, or DPP? The easiest way to think about it is like a highly detailed digital birth certificate for your clothes, and it's easily accessible right from your smartphone. By just scanning a unique identifier, like a smart tag physically woven into the garment, you unlock this massive, comprehensive vault of product data. It traces the item's entire life cycle, from the very first design sketches and raw material harvesting, all the way down to how exactly you should recycle it at the end of its life. And it's important to know this isn't just some basic web link pointing to a brand's glossy marketing webpage. No, the EU is bringing in the heavy-hitting Industry 4.0 tech for this. We are talking RFID chips, NFC tags, QR codes, and super robust blockchain frameworks. These technologies allow the passport to conduct real-time tracking across this crazy complex global supply chain. And because it runs on super secure, agreed-upon data rights, it means the info literally cannot be faked or tampered with. It radically shifts the whole industry from, hey, just trust us, to here is the undeniable, verifiable data. Let's open it up in Section 4, Inside the Digital Passport. Okay, so under these incoming EU regulations, the passport has to hold some highly specific, non-negotiable details. First up, exact raw material sourcing, geographic origins, and precise material composition. You'll know exactly what's in it. Second, unique identifiers. And that's not just for the product, but for the manufacturer and whoever placed it onto the EU market. Third, you've got full compliance documentation, standard certifications, quality checks, and real environmental impact data, like the carbon footprint and water usage. And finally, which is obviously crucial for a circular economy, it's going to give you precise step-by-step instructions for end-of-life recycling, disposal, or reuse. Finally, Section 5, the benefits for consumers and businesses. The beauty of this is that the advantages really go both ways. For us, the everyday consumers, we finally get that verifiable transparency we've been craving. No more standing in the dressing room guessing. Plus, you get specific care guidelines and durability instructions so your clothes actually last longer. But for businesses, this is a total game changer. They can use this newly visible data to spot massive inefficiencies in their own supply chains. More importantly, it lets them legally and visibly prove their sustainability claims, shield their public image against scandals, and build massive trust with an increasingly skeptical public. It basically flips transparency from being a corporate risk into a major competitive advantage. Now, transparency all by itself doesn't automatically equal sustainability, right? But it does give us the hard, cold data we require to finally start fixing a broken system. So as we look toward that strict 2027 mandate, I want to leave you with this thought to consider. When pulling up a garment's entire ethical and environmental history becomes as easy as checking a text message on your phone, how will that absolute, mandatory transparency permanently alter your future shopping habits? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer today, and keep asking the right questions.